billion, or 10% of the world's population by 2030.
Climate change is not something that is waiting to happen. It is having a real impact on communities and individuals around the world. Some of them are losing their islands, others have lost their farmlands.
More than 4 billion people, around 60% of the world's population, are vulnerable to climate change. 500 million people in developing countries are at extreme risk, many of them in some of the poorest areas of the world.
Treated as a disaster, but it's a very fundamental development issue.
The report puts a human face on climate change by putting people at its heart. Rather than underscoring abstract scientific data, it's the first effects of climate change on human society. It aims to be meaningful to the general public and useful to policymakers.
I mean, this report is a starting point, clearly. It will in particular, and we have to get our acts together now.
This is where we have to tell the world that unless we look at the humanitarian dimensions of the problem, then clearly we are likely to have a disruption in society in several parts of the world. We are even likely to have failed states.
Developing countries bear more than 90% of the burden of climate change, while contributing least to the causes, the report states. 99% of deaths linked to climate change occur in developing countries, which often emit the lowest carbon emissions. The report comes at a critical time, just 6 months before a new deal's due to be thrashed out by negotiators in Copenhagen to set new levels on emissions. Current ADA to be scaled up 100 times in developing countries. Despite the dramatic consequences of climate change outlined in the report, it warns that its findings are very conservative and the true human impact is likely to be far more severe.